Hello friends, I am Guninder Sidhu. Today I am going to talk about a book which is a rare gem of world literature. Osho has termed it to be the best book in the world. Even he said that if the ship is carrying the books of the whole world, including the religious texts, and that ship starts sinking, and a choice is given to him to save only one book, then he will save this book, the Book of Mirdad. It is written by Mikhail Naimy. He was a close associate of Khalil Gibran. Mikhail Naimy he belongs to Lebanon, but he stayed in America, Russia and several other countries. But at the end of his life in 1950s, he came back to Lebanon and started living the life of a hermit, a fakir. And during that period, he wrote this wonderful book. It is a very difficult, dense, deep book. It is not a casual reading at all. Even I started reading in this book. And this is the wonderful and magical book. So I am sharing some parts of it, some philosophies of this book with you. The narrative of the book, the storyline, that is very dense and strong. While reading it, I felt as if I am put in a situation which is supernatural, very awkward. But at the juncture of that awkwardness, suddenly a spring of wisdom erupts. You can feel the nectar, the fragrance, the sweetness of the wisdom while standing in that awkward situation. Sometimes I felt as if I am standing in a freezing cold night. But that freezing coldness, instead of giving me the shivering, is giving me comfort and warmth. I felt as if I am surrounded by a very dense and dark fog. But this fog, instead of blurring my vision, is clearing my vision. We have planned to discuss this book in several episodes because it will not be a justice to this book to have a very short discussion about it. You know, I always feel that the classical things are those which require patience, because they have their own magic that evolves, that slowly enters into you. ये जो हल्का हल्का सुरूर है. The classical books and classical music is like that one. You can't constrain Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan or Pandit Bhimsen Joshi to just one or few minutes. You have to allow them to create that magic. And same is true about this book. It evolves into a magic. The only thing that it demands is our patience. Now about the one philosophy of that book which touched me the most. It is the philosophy about myself. At one juncture of this book, Mirdad, he explains what is I, that is me. And he says how to utter the word I. मैं को कैसे पुकारना है. He says that call I or your name as if you are calling a prayer. When you unlock the word I from your being, it brings to life to the whole of your being. Your I is not confined to the word that has come out of your lips, but I is your whole being. That is lying invisible, inaudible, incorporeal. Incorporeal means without form or body. And you should speak I in this way that that hidden being becomes visible, audible, and gets form. He says that it is the cure of all our diseases. All our disillusionments get evaporated when we connect to ourselves in this manner. When we connect to ourselves as if we are connecting in prayer with the God. I got fascinated by this idea because I feel that we are very eager to get connected with the outer world. But we don't get that excitement or reverence or respect for our own self. And I tell you one thing, that it is related to the teaching of Brahm the Gyan. Because according to Upanishads, that we are pots made of a common clay. Here clay is the symbolic of cosmic energy. We are made of that cosmic energy. In order to understand the pot, we need to understand the clay. We need to connect it with the clay or the cosmic energy. And Mirdad is saying this thing, that by uttering, by speaking I, connect with that clay or cosmic energy. You are not different from that energy. God is in you and you are in God. Now about the very short glimpse of the storyline. The story is about Noah's Ark, that biblical character who saved humanity and other species when there were huge floods according to the Bible. And Noah, he suggested his son Sam to have a memento of that ark which saved the humanity. And out of that memento a monastery was made, and there were 9 companions, always 9 companions to look after that monastery, and one companion is an invisible guide. After several centuries, the monastery started flourishing and also a corruption crept in. At that time, the whole affair of monastery was managed by a senior, and at that time one of the companion or monk died. To replace him, automatically a stranger appeared at the gates of the monastery. He was very shabby looking and fully naked. The senior refused his entry, but after persuasion he allowed the stranger to enter into the monastery, not as a monk but as a servant. And it is said that after few centuries, according to the locals, the ghost of that senior is wandering in the monuments of monastery but is visible to no one. When the narrator of the story, narrator of the novel, he knows about it, he decides to climb to the mountain and visit the monastery. He selects the toughest slope, which is called Flint slope. Flint is a dark looking rock, and he starts his journey with 7 loaves or food items, 1 stick. But while he is going to monastery, his all belongings are taken away. That is very symbolic. First a shepherd appears, he takes away his 7 loaves and gives him the line of wisdom, that a path which cannot look after the traveler is not a worthy path. This line contains immense wisdom. For every aspect of our life, be it a personal or professional or social life, we should choose a path which actually looks after ourselves or the traveler. After that, a shabby looking old woman appears and she takes away his clothes. Now he is without any food and fully naked. But that old woman gives another wisdom to him. She says that less possessions, less possessed. And less possessed, more assessed. Possessed means to be hypnotized by something external. And assessed means to have approach, to allow yourself for something higher. So the lines are less possessions, less possessed, and less possessed, more assessed. After that, an old couple appears and they take away his stick and his temporary shelter room. And again, that old couple that gives wisdom to him, that says that the stick or a support for walking is required for those who can't walk straight. That is again very symbolic. After that, the narrator, he starts walking, but it is so dark that he slips and falls into a deep chasm. And while falling, he listens to the one sound: die to live or live to die. These are very dense lines. Die to live means attain your death so that you can live fully afterwards. Be fearless about death. And second line is live to die. That is the lifeless life. Some people, they just live only to die. A monotonous life, looking only for the death. And when he falls down, all of a sudden his eyes open and he sees that a very strange and old person standing in front of him, and that person says that you have reached your destination. Now I end this part here. The rest of the story I will discuss in the next episode. But before leaving, I want to suggest you one thing, that if possible, please go through this book. Its every word is dipped in spirituality. It is very ilahi, rohani experience. And with these words, I take the leave here. Thank you. See you soon.